Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. An absolutely mad day in the Valorant world. Some crazy series, especially another banger. Impossible not to be a banger when you get the OpTic core now on NRG versus the Loud core, as of course it has now been. Unbelievable series yesterday, but also lots of roster drama as well in the Tier 2 North American scene. And also Marved responding to the defeat that NRG suffered yesterday, saying it's a Mickey Mouse tournament and maybe considering his options going forward as well. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, just from Leo Farrier here mentioning a few things that they're trying to improve currently at the Sao Paulo tournament, saying they're making a few changes, cancelling a bunch of tickets and putting them on sale. So I think what they've done here is a lot of the tickets that are sold out but no one turned up for are like, you know, created tickets, and basically they sold a lot of tickets or reserved a lot of tickets for people to attend that then like never attended. So therefore they're going to just put those tickets now on sale again for more people, getting rid of the event card for concessions, reducing the halftime duration a bit, refining the audio mix. So yeah, they're trying to improve what's been a pretty dodgy event, I've got to say, so far from many different perspectives. And even the fans that have attended have said that really they're not having a particularly good time the way this has been organized. Before we discuss the event though in Sao Paulo, gotta mention Tier 2 Roster Drama with TSM. I mentioned this to you guys the other day that cNed had been spotted playing with TSM. But okay, I guess if cNed was coming in, I would have expected not Hayes to be the one to make way, the veteran kind of IGL of the team. I thought honestly TSM were pretty good so far with Hayes. No, I don't understand what's going on here. The only way this makes sense to me is if Hayes just decided, you know what, this isn't for me, I want to step back and step away, and they need to find a replacement, because I don't see why they would drop Hayes. I don't exactly understand why they think that would take them in the right direction. Even individually, Hayes has been pretty good. So yeah, intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comments below. Interesting potential roster drama there. Also, George mentions that cNed has been a conversation around Evil Geniuses to round out their massive 10-man team, but that might not happen right now if cNed is going to join TSM for Hayes. So yeah, very interesting. Not exactly sure why. Maybe a short-term thing, but cNed is seemingly the leading option to replace Hayes on that TSM lineup in a very surprising and strange change. And even as Rossi says in the replies, take me back to TSM after the limited success that he had with that organization. Let's talk then about this unbelievable series yesterday, NRG versus Loud. Of course, they were getting a very warm welcome, let's say, for the Brazilian fans here. Certainly, even when they left the venue, they were just getting booed into brute oblivion after losing the series. I thought maybe, you know, the Brazilian fans would have been a bit more, you know, congratulatory after, of course, Loud won. Had a NRG won, then it might have been a different story. Game 1, it was not even close. Loud destroyed them game 1, and Crashies, I mean, look at this, right? He goes in after he gets, Toys gets locked down here, goes in for the knife, and the crowd was not happy about that one at all. Crashies, man, this guy, I think, would have been the MVP for this team had they have kept making their progression. He was so valuable, I thought, for them this tournament, NRG. Individually, of course, very sound as well, Crashies, and every single tournament he manages to humiliate at least someone, it seems. So NRG managed to bounce back game 2. They won an unbelievable Pearl, 13-15. I mean, there were so many moments in this series that we can't even mention anywhere near enough of them to actually get the story across. If you guys watch the series, I'm sure you'll understand just how ridiculous this game was. And then we got all the way to a Fracture. Now, Fracture versus on like NRG as they are now, formerly OpTic versus Loud, has always been a cracker the last few times they played it. Early on, when OpTic last year, towards the start of last year, played Loud, it was quite clear that that OpTic were the stronger team on this particular map. But Loud over time improved on it, and now they got to a point where they can actually beat the OpTic core on Fracture. And I kind of knew this was going to be a cracking one here. FNS goes down to Toys at the end. Huge clutch from him, but that wasn't it, right? It didn't go 17-15. It went 16-16, but eventually 18-16. I mean, TenZ said this match is too much, understandably. There were some crazy matches going on yesterday as well with some ridiculous overtimes, but this was like just absolutely absurd to see again, like this OpTic core on now on NRG play the Loud core and have a series like this. It's a shame map 1 wasn't competitive. It had been fun to see if NRG could have put up a good fight there, and NRG do still struggle on game 1s for an unknown reason, it seems. But yeah, NRG eventually go down 18-16. The crowd, of course, was absolutely out of control, and what a great series between two phenomenal teams. NRG though go home. That's you know, the only chance that they're going to get this this tournament to make it all the way through to the semi-finals or to the bracket play, but Loud have done so. Despite Loud at times I thought were pretty suspect this tournament when it mattered on the big stage, and at the end of the day when you are playing in front of your home crowd, there is a degree of, you know, competitive advantage in terms of the way the crowd deals with things that at times are often rather questionable. But it's like sports, you know, when you're at a home venue, a home setup, like you are going to have some element of advantage for various reasons, as you see in normal sports. And you know, of course it came back to bite NRG in this case. They were so close to winning the series. I'm sure they'll feel like they kind of should have won this series. They had many moments they arguably should have closed out and they didn't. And just I thought was unbelievable here looking at Loud. You guys can see here the last times they've played Fracture, they lost 13-2 last year in April, then 13-8, then 13-10, and this time they finally beat the OpTic on Fracture in an unbelievable 18-16 affair. As FNS says, lost 2-1 to Loud. Sorry, proud of my team regardless. And Crashy's pointed out as well, they probably should have won it, should have closed it out, sorry, but they're going to go home. And that is the last representative of North America in the Alpha group that is going home straight away. And the Omega group only has 2 North American teams. Of course, we'll see how far they can get. We'll discuss it in a second. Even as Marved TenZ just got flashbacks. Nice try to NRG. Insane debut, especially ShahZaM. So I think for a relatively, you know, newly put together team, NRG did pretty well. I'm sure they'll feel like there's another step to unlock here. But ShahZaM individually played great. I wonder what Marved thinks about this, just because, of course, Marved, like, ShahZaM took his spot, right, on this OpTic core. Artist took Ye's spot. ShahZaM took Marved's spot. And obviously, they're not quite at the level of the OpTic core yet. And even as Sentinel says, maybe NRG should sign Ye and Marved. That might be quite a good team. However, Marved also says this I thought was pretty interesting. It was this tweet. So Chet says, GG's, good luck Loud, Mickey Mouse LAN. So, you know, this is the thing. There's various reasons why this LAN is considered to be not quite the caliber of event that other events are. Of course, the format, the single elimination, various other factors in play as well. The crowd, for example, always a big point of discussion. So, yeah, do you think the Marved just got a point as to say this LAN doesn't really mean that much? And when it comes to the real LAN, such as in Tokyo, which is going to be very exciting with the Japanese crowd, and also, well, champions later in the year, if the teams respectively can qualify, like how that'll be going forward. It's going to be pretty exciting stuff. But yeah, Marved reckons this LAN really doesn't mean that much and is supporting the NRG guys in their loss, maybe to try and get back on the team at some point. I guess we'll see about that. The overall numbers were pretty insane. I mean, the amount of kills that were going down across this series because the overtimes was ridiculous. Game 1 split those 13-3. This was not even close. Pearl was 13-15 in NRG's favor, and then Fracture 18-16. Look at all those overtimes. That had a good advantage. NRG bounced back. They were up almost to win the series at this point, but they got the defuse in this round. Crashies was mega, as he always tends to be on the breach here on this map. Victor had a rough one, but he was getting killed through smokes left, right, and center. I can understand why he was so frustrated. And he wasn't on the Neon, as sometimes he's actually run on this map before, but on the KO instead. But obviously, Victor will feel frustrated with his individual performance. I don't even want to share any highlights just because there's too much happening from this DRX versus Talon series. Just wanted to discuss the result. DRX did take down Talon. Honestly, impressive run from Talon this tournament. I was not expecting them to be this competitive, especially against a team like DRX. They won game 1 Fracture before going down on Ascent 13-6, and then Icebox was 13-10. Again, a close series. Talon put up more of a fight than Cloud9 did, to be honest here. This was far from guaranteed. At some point it was 10-10, and then DRX closed out with 3 big diffusers in a row. So they move on from this group, as do Loud. The 2 teams to advance then from Group A all the way to the final bracket of the tournament, which will go down in still, well, over a week's time at this point. Because we very much so have to get through Group Omega as well. We'll see how that might play out here in a second. Thought this is quite funny as well for Ethan, just because he tweeted out, when he did this tweet on the 18th of February, this was right when the, well, no North American team had yet even lost a map, I believe, in the tournament. They were all undefeated, 6-0 so far. As soon as Ethan tweeted this out, they then went on to lose. His, you know, of course, also Cloud9 lost, right? NRG have now lost. So pretty funny that Ethan talked about all the EMEA teams clearing out the practice rooms, and then quite quickly after this, all the North American teams were clearing out their practice rooms as well and going straight home. So now the hope of North American Valorant falls on the Group Omega teams, and there are only 2 in Group Omega, and that is, of course, Sentinels and 100 Thieves. Sentinels getting pretty excited here. 5 days to go now, 4 days to go until they play their first series of the tournament. But still, there's a couple of days away with other matches happening in the start of Group Omega on the upper side before they get to the Sentinels game. But as Cloud9 point out here, right, like a lot of the you know, North American Valorant fans have gone off from NRG, Cloud9, who Evil Geniuses, and are now fully on the Sentinels 100 Thieves bandwagon. The tricky thing is for Sentinels and 100 Thieves over the coming days is that their group is even more stacked, I would say, than Group A was. Don't get me wrong, DRX and Loud are certainly the 2 teams that were deserving of getting out of that Group A in in this crazy single elimination format that we have. But Group Omega is even more stacked, to be honest. I mean, look at this group. It's absurd. Liquid, Secret, Na'Vi, Crew, of course, are here. Zeta Division, right? Leviathan, they're very good as well. Vitality, okay, fair enough. You got Global Esports, Foot Esports, RRQ, but then you've got 100 Thieves, Edward Gaming, Sen, Fnatic, T1 Furia. Like, this group is ridiculous. So it starts on February the 22nd, a couple of days' time, with these first 3 games. Then you get the second set of 3 games, and then on the 24th, 2 matches with Sen, Fnatic, and T1 Furia. That's what Sentinels are for sure waiting for. And again, in the same format we had with Group A, 2 teams that will advance from either side of the bracket, but both North American teams are in one side. And based on the bracket here, 100 Thieves will definitely be favourites to make it through to at least the semi-final stage, where they will play one of Sen, Fnatic, T1 or Furia. Might well be Fnatic, and Fnatic probably should be favoured from this lower part of the bracket to make it through, and from the upper side you might have to take a team like Na'Vi. So there is still a chance for North American Valorant, but there's a decent chance as well that the real top EMEA teams come to play in this particular group. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.